Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another beautiful, lovely video of mine. I am yours truly, Spritey, and today's beautiful topic is going to be about cell phones. Yes, we cannot live without cell phones. Everyone at this point has a cell phone. Excuse me, sorry. Anyways, cell phones. We cannot live without them, it seems like. Cell phones we just have in our pockets. We carry it around. It's basically our wallet. It's as powerful as our wallet at this point because you can put your credit card information on there and use it to tap onto, areas where you can pay for whatever. Except Walmart. Walmart, it's still outdated when you're going to go check out and you go onto their little pin pad thing and you're trying to pay. They do not have to tap. They don't have Apple Pay, and it's very surprising they don't do that. I don't know if it's because of security measurements. It could be the case. I'm pretty sure if you Google it, you'll find an answer. I'm not going to care too much about that. But anyways, I just feel like that's very outdated. Like even gas stations. I don't know if anyone's seen them, but gas stations, the one that I live near to, they've updated theirs where you can tap. You can use your credit card or your phone to tap to pay. And I thought that was pretty interesting. That's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. And also just easier way to scam people and hack and stuff like that. Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. Yeah, it's just so interesting how the world has evolved, where you can now use your phone to tap, and it makes me wonder how it works. I wonder how it transmits from your phone to the pad. I'm pretty sure there's a technical way that they've done it, and I'm pretty sure I can just Google and tell everyone, but I'm going to leave that mystery for everyone. Anyways, we cannot live without cell phones. My first cell phone was an iPhone 3GS, and this was back when I was in, I want to say, middle school. When did the iPhone 3GS release anyways? I got a used iPhone 3GS. Not that it's a big deal or anything, because even at the time when I received the iPhone, I didn't really care too much about it. Release date. I don't know. It's just I had a laptop and I was on the internet a lot, and I didn't really need a cell phone. The release date was June 19th of 2009. It was announced on June 8th of 2009. So shortly after it was announced, it was released. Wow, okay. This is according to AI Overview on Google. Anyways, so I didn't have an iPhone up until I was about to get into high school. But again, it's just, I'm probably an oddball for saying that because most teenagers around my age would practically want a cell phone. I don't know if it was just because I didn't have any friends. I mean, I had friends, but I didn't need their numbers or anything. They all lived in the same neighborhood as I did, and this was an era where you could just knock on someone's door and they would answer, and whether they're there or not, this is what determines if you can hang out with them or not. I don't know. I just never had a use of it up until when I got into high school. That's when I really started truly abusing my cell phone. And I was able to get upgraded shortly after. I can thank my mom for that. My mom was super helpful when it came to everything in my life, so I'm very blessed to have her. And she upgraded my phone. I believe my upgrade was the iPhone 5, and I loved that phone. I thought that was one of the best iPhones that came out, was the iPhone 5. When did that come out? iPhone 5 release date. That came out shortly after, in September 21st, 2012. And what an upgrade that phone was. The iPhone 4 was a good upgrade, but then the iPhone 5, when that came out, that's when they started using the shorter, smaller Apple charger cord, and just everything about it was enhanced, and I thought it was the best phone, and it lasted me until I got the iPhone X, I think. Wait, nope, that's wrong. I got the iPhone 7. When did that bad boy come out? My next upgrade wouldn't be until 4 years later with the iPhone 7. iPhone 7 came out September 16th of 2016. That came out, yeah, 4 years after that. So my iPhone 5, I didn't need an upgrade. That was probably one of the best iPhones I've had. And then shortly after that, I got myself the iPhone X. I believe that was the first $1,000 phone. That was introduced November 3rd, 2017. I remember how fancy the iPhone X was too, because I had a glass back to it. And then, what else? I had the iPhone 11 after that. Release date of the iPhone 11. Pre-order September 13th of 2019. So 2 years later comes the iPhone 11. Now it seems like almost every year there's always an iPhone being released. Just like how Call of Duty almost every year it seems like there's a new Call of Duty come out, and I think it's the biggest waste of time. Now back then, iPhones, they always just seem so different, so advanced every time they've upgraded. And then after the iPhone 11, I switched over to Samsung. And this is the phone I have now, the Samsung Android SE23. Android SE23. Or it's not SE, it's S23. I believe that's right. Images, yeah, I think, yeah, the iPhone S23 FE. That's what I got. And why switch, right? What a random time to switch from iPhone to Samsung, even after having an iPhone for so long. I switched over to Samsung, and I've had this phone for at least 2 years. When did S23 come out? I've had this for over 2 years. The Samsung S23 release date. Let's look at that. It came out February 17th of 2023. So I had it later that year. I had it late. I think I had that after my birthday. I think it was November time frame. Because I had this phone before I moved. And I can tell you that this phone has not given me problems since. Sorry, I tried to drink water after drinking soda. Anyways, I've not had a single issue with this phone that I'm aware of. I have maybe one small crack, but it's hardly noticeable. And that's it. Like, when I turn it on, I can't tell. When you turn it off, you can somewhat see an outline, and it's a small one. So it doesn't really make a huge deal. And I've had the same case for it since, too. I've never had a different case, and I should probably get a different case. I was very notorious for dropping phones, no matter what case I had, no matter what glass screen I had or whatever protector case I had on it, no matter how many times I've dropped it, I always found a way to break my phone. Now, this phone also, my Android, has a glass back, and that shattered. Not that it matters, because it's just a glass back. It doesn't really do anything. It's still intact. It's not chipping off or coming off or anything. And I'm also keeping the case on it 24/7. But yeah, no, there's not really too much to it. And I just find it interesting that the amount of abuse this thing has taken is the only one that's really survived. And it's a nice looking phone. It's big. It reminds me of when I first got the iPhone X. Or no, not the iPhone X. iPhone 7 was pretty big too. I had some pretty big phones. I don't think it was the iPhone 7. I think it was like the iPhone 7 Pro or something like that, and it was big. But this phone is pretty huge too. Like, I'm a pretty big person, so big phones are pretty ideal until you start wearing jeans that have like smaller pockets or shorts with smaller pockets, and that's when it's a little inconvenient. But now these days, even clothes are more fitted for bigger materials because of phones and wallets and keys and stuff like that. And man, I just, other than it being different from the iPhone, that's the only issues I've come across this. Like, there's some features that I still don't know about that I learn. I just don't care to learn. I just needed a simple phone that had all the capabilities that I needed, and it's pretty simple. And when I was in need of a new phone because the iPhone 11 I had broke. And for whatever reason, this was my iPhone history. Is that something would always break on it, and my iPhone 11 did not want to charge. I owned it for at least a couple of years, and maybe less than. And just for whatever reason, I've always come across problems with iPhones, whether I dropped it and broke them, or just something along the way happened with it for it not to work. And I've never mistreated my phones where I'm like dousing it in water or putting in areas that shouldn't be and stuff like that. I think I relatively use a phone like a normal person. And just something about the iPhone 11 was not charging, and I didn't want to get it checked at. And then it just got to a point, like I would use different chargers, but it's not charging. It wouldn't hold a charge, and it's just dying. And it's like, well, this phone is now like dead. And yeah, it was time for an upgrade because I didn't need to owe the mobile company them with any money or anything like that for a phone. So I looked online, and I saw that they had all sorts of different offers when it comes to buying phones and different plans. Like you can spend $10, $20, $30, and at the time, I believe I was demonetized from YouTube, so I'm thinking cheapest possible. I'm still thinking cheapest possible for many things as much as I can. I don't really like to buy things all nilly-willy without consideration. And when I needed a new phone, I believe a new iPhone, of course, released. I don't need that. And that's the thing, is when you're always trying to buy a phone, they're always trying to push either their old products to get rid of it or their newer ones. Like, oh my gosh, we got the iPhone 17, buy. And I just saw this Android, and I just thought, like, this was like $10 a month, or not even. And I thought to myself, what a good deal. Because it was just the cheapest that they had of all the other phones that they had on sale at the time. And I didn't. It's just after iPhone after iPhone after iPhone, after things keep breaking, after things keep failing on me, after things just keep happening one way or the other, I told myself, let's just try. Let's just see if I like it. Let's just see if this holds up in comparison to the iPhone. If I just needed something that will survive, right? I need a phone that will last me a good chunk, not just 2 years, but 4 years, 5 years. You shouldn't have to replace a phone so quickly, is my point. And I've described how many iPhones I've had. I've had so many up until I got this Android. And I just never came across a problem with this Android. It takes photos fine, however. There's 3 cameras on here, and I have noticed that my camera is not as good as the iPhone. I don't know if I just needed to correct a setting on the photo or camera, the camera settings, or if I'm just choosing the wrong options to take photos. But my other half, Kate, she has an iPhone 15? 16? I can't tell you. It's hard to keep track of iPhones these days, all right? They all look the same. They all literally look the same now. Who cares about the next iPhone? I do not care about the next iPhone. I don't care about the next Samsung. I care about a phone that lasts. People who keep track of iPhones every year and they tell themselves, I must have it, I must need it. Why? In what sense do you need a new phone just because it's new? It's not going to change your life in any way, shape, or form. It's just an essential that you need these days because phones hold tickets to events that you want to go to. Phones can have food delivered to your house now. It can also request taxis, aka Ubers. It can do so much. Hold your credit cards, as I mentioned. It gets message people, whether it's through text or even on Messenger or whatever app you like to use. Don't have to use the mobile data. You can use the internet that's available. You get to go to Starbucks and connect to their internet for free and message whoever you want. And you can be cheap, and that is okay. This thing, no issues. And when I've noticed one thing though, and I think this happens to every phone though. I bought this phone, and I was amazed by the battery life. I haven't had a phone in which the battery life lasted an entire day, and I can go home, shower, lay in bed, and still be on my phone without plugging it into a charger. This phone right here is probably one of the first phones I was able to do that with. Last a charge all day, get through work or whatever, do whatever I do in life, and then not have to charge at the end. Now, granted, you still probably have to charge it so that you get a full charge for the next day or whatever, but up until this day, the charge on this phone is still good. I can still do the same thing, charge it all day, or all night I should say, take it off the plug, and go about my day, and not worry about having to charge it. With the iPhones that I've had, it felt like I've always needed to charge that thing. This, however, this lasts, and the battery has decreased. And that's fine, because all batteries do that, no matter what phone you have. Your iPhone 17 that you've pre-ordered and bought, the battery life on that bad boy is going to decrease the second you start using it. That's just how all technology works. But this, I haven't needed to do any maintenance on it. Just plug and play. So this is nice. This is the kind of thing I needed, is a reliable phone that isn't going to poop out on me. And Samsung has never used Apple chargers because, it's Apple. It's used its own chargers. And now it's on USB-C, or the small USB, or whatever you want to call it. And iPhone has finally caught up to using that port too. Thank goodness. So now everyone's using USB-C. It's the future. Even my Xbox controller is plugged into USB-C. I love that. So everything is now up to date here with me with USB-C. And I don't even need to plug this onto my phone because that's how well my phone is right now. Granted, I did just charge it, but it's just one of those specs, right? It's not how it operates. It's what it can do for me in the long run. It's, can I continue using this phone when it's paid off and not have to worry about trading it in or getting a new phone? That's the goal. That's the ultimate goal. I'm not trying to be a cheapo or anything, but I just want something with a long life, something simple. And that's how all phones should be. The audio still works on it. And another thing about my other iPhone, I don't know if it was the iPhone X or the iPhone 11, but I couldn't talk normally. I don't know what I did. But just some point in time, there's a little audio on top for talking, right? Top of it went out. So I had to use speaker to talk. I hated talking on phones, by the way. I'm done talking on phones. I'm not done per se. I still have to use it for conversations and emergencies and so on and so forth, making appointments. But the number one thing I hate is answering phone calls and talking through the phone, because it is harder for me to communicate through a phone. It's harder for me to understand people through a phone. And it's not that it can't come out clearly. It's just sometimes it depends on the other person's phone, or if they're on speaker and they're trying to talk, or I'm having to make a person repeat the same thing they've said 3 times. Hey, phone call conversations. And yeah, I just can't bear with that anymore. Anyways. What is the first cell phone to come? What is the first cell phone you've had? I remember my dad had, I can't remember if it was a Nokia or a Motorola, but I remember when I was in swimming lessons, in swimming school, oh yeah, whatever you want to call it. I was doing swimming competitions, and normally it's an all-day event kind of thing, and it sucked having to wait, because he just, like, they did an order of last names, and of course my last name is a letter at the end of the alphabet, and so because of that you're basically last in line, and that's how schools also operated. Yeah, you gotta get in a line, but we're gonna call you by your last name, and I'm always at the end of the line, and that's stupid formation, by the way. Stupid formation. Whatever. So I had one of those long swim meets, and I always ended up playing on my dad's old phone, and it had Snake on there. It had some sort of war game. I think you were driving a tank and you were shooting at things or whatever, or was it a helicopter? I can't remember. It was either a tank or a helicopter, and it was always moving forward. And this is all 2D pixelated, by the way. Nothing what phones can do now. By the way, do not give your kid a phone. Don't give your 5-year-old a phone. Don't give your 7-year-old a phone. Don't give your 10-year-old a phone. No, they can wait. They can absolutely wait. Middle school, that's as close of a standard as it can get, right? When they start feeling independent, that's fine. Not when they're in elementary and they feel independent. No, you still got to parent them. I don't care what you say. Just, kids don't need to grow up with an iPhone or just a phone in general. You can give them a flip phone, sure, with limited features that for emergency purposes, with how this day and age is going, sure. But don't give him a frickin' tablet. Don't give him a frickin' cell phone for them to walk around and just stare at all day. Because I'll tell you what, the average, according to Google AI, and a lot of this is going to be Google AI, by the way. According to Google AI, the average daily phone usage in the US is around 5 hours and 16 minutes, and I feel like that is completely true. You know how many people are glued onto the screens? It also makes a valid point that Gen Z spends approximately 6 hours and 27 minutes per day on their phones. Baby boomers spend just over 4 hours per day. Through this is still double the recommended limit. So the recommended limit is 2 hours of phone usage. I can tell you this. I know for a fact I have absolutely abused 2 hours. And the thing is, it's just, this is where a lot of people's entertainment comes from. This is where we all socialize virtually. And this is where you're able to get your news these days. You don't need newspapers. You don't need to watch the news station anymore. All your information that you feel like you can get is on here. Now, the problem is you can... One of the things is that you're told, don't believe everything you read on the internet, except this is the biggest delusion right here, is having a phone where you can literally read everything and then start believing everything. That's where the problem begins. And we're not going to open up that can of worms either. Um, but Google AI makes a good point where Gen Zers spend most time, while baby boomers, and the fact that they're calling them baby boomers, spend the least. Um, I feel like that's true because older people have more difficulties using their phones, and they grew up without that too. They grew up in a world where that wasn't a need, and most of them do now, but they still show that that's not how they can get by with life. And it's so easy to get lost in a sauce of cell phones too. Um, what? I had these tabs pulled up. I was already prepared, but now I gotta Google it again. That's great. Thanks, laptop or Google Chrome, because that's my go-to internet browser. What I was going to search up was the first cell phone. The first cell phone. This is all according to Google AI overview, by the way. The first cell phone was a prototype developed by Motorola engineer Martin Cooper, who made the first public cell phone call on April 3rd of 1973, using the device to call a rival at AT&T. Ooh, the commercial version, the Motorola Dynatac 8000X, was released in 1983 and became known as the brick phone. And I've seen these things. I've gone to a museum and have seen these things. It is a chunky phone with buttons on it, and it's a little screen on top that tells you what you pushed. And it's got a big antenna that goes on top of it. And it became known as a brick phone for its size and limited battery life. The prototype was a large, heavy device that weighed about 2.5 pounds and had a 30-minute talk time requiring, this is the best part, 10 hours to charge. Imagine that. Imagine it taking 10 hours just to use it for 30 minutes. It almost defeats the purpose of having it. And the brick phone, the Dynatac, it's DYNA and then capitalized TAC, all put together, Dynatac 8000X. And it was nicknamed the brick phone due to its size. And it costs around $4,000, making it a luxury item. That's not a luxury item if you could only use it for about 30 minutes and you had to charge for 10 hours. Imagine that you had to leave it. Like, I guess overnight, that's fine. But only using it for 30 minutes? And by the way, this is like before texting, that you could only call on that thing. That is absolutely astonishing. Now, the first flip phone, in which I did have this friggin' tab popped up as well, but somehow closed out. The first commercially successful flip phone, by the way, AI overview by Google, it was the Motorola StarTAC. Star, capitalized TAC, released in 1996, the best year to exist. While a 1989 Motorola MicroTAC is considered the first phone with a flip mechanism, the StarTAC was the first to popularize the clamshell design, making it significantly smaller, lighter, and more affordable. The Motorola MicroTAC 1989, while it was the first to have a flip-down microphone, it was much larger and more expensive than the StarTAC, and was not considered a true flip phone. Oh, okay, I see. So imagine a brick phone, and the buttons were on the bottom, and it had a little cover to it. That's it. That was that. So that wasn't really a flip phone. The Motorola StarTAC was the first actual flip phone where you can close it and it would be about this big, about half the size of my phone right here, I'd say. And you can easily slide into your pocket. It had a little antenna you can pull up and down. Oh, man, I remember those. Man, the StarTAC was the first flip phone to do that. Oh, man, I'm just looking at different pictures of it. Man, how old it looks, but how revolutionary it was, because that flip phone design will carry on to the next 11 years. The next 11 years until the iPhone. Can you guess when the iPhone was released? Because I already know what year it was. 2007. June 29th, 2007 was when the iPhone was introduced. And the iPhone looked very similar to the iPhone 3GS that I had. Very chunky, bricky, touchscreen. And now, I mean, I still have it. It doesn't work, unfortunately. Just how old it is. And it was definitely rickety. Now, anyways. It wasn't as rickety when I first got it, but it was definitely rickety. And yeah, it was just, I'm pretty sure most iPhones, almost 20 years ago, I can't believe that, 18 years ago, most iPhones 18 years ago, I'm pretty sure, are so slow and laggy, and they just don't operate as well as they used to and stuff like that. Not that I know if they do or not, but I remember when I had the iPhone 3GS, it was revolutionary at the time. But everything at that time was revolutionary. It was the 2000s, man. But yeah, no, the flip phone would continue to make dominance up until that point. Now, everything wasn't always flip phone throughout the 2000s. Sometimes it would just be like this little small pad with a keyboard on it. Like the Blackberry. The Blackberry! Anyone remembers the Blackberry phone? Oh my goodness. When was that first released? Hold on. Blackberry release date. Gotta figure this out. The first Blackberry device, a two-way pager, was released on January 19th, 1999. Other significant release dates include the first smartphone in 2002, the BlackBerry 10 operating system on January 30th, 2013, and the final hardware production for most BlackBerry devices ending in August 2020. That's sad. End of services. Web services for older devices ended on January 4, 2022. So rest in peace, BlackBerry. Anyways, the BlackBerry was probably the first, I guess, smartphone touchscreen. Was it touchscreen? I remember that a lot of the Blackberries operated like a controller. Like, you know how there's this D-pad on this controller? It essentially had buttons like that, where it had a computer screen, and you just kind of moved buttons around, pressing a little D-pad with buttons on it. It had a keyboard, so it made texting easier. Man, the Blackberry. And there's so many different varieties of Blackberries. Man, I remember how popular those things were. But rest in peace, Blackberry. It's amazing how something so high is now something so gone. But what is BlackBerry considered the first smartphone because it was able to surf the web? Is that what makes it the smartphone? Because I recall when the iPhone 7, or not 7, when the iPhone came out in 2007, that was revolutionary. It was revolutionary because that was the turning point for phones. It got rid of buttons. It got rid of everything, and it made it into nothing but a screen. I mean, it did have a button on the bottom. It had a home button, but that was a useful button. Now it doesn't anymore. I kind of miss home buttons. When they got rid of the home button and the aux cord, by the way, is that's one thing I am annoyed. Well, two things I'm annoyed about phones these days. One, no aux port. Whoever got rid of the aux port, there's a special spot in hell for. Okay, maybe not. That's just a little overkill, but that is criminal. Number two, chargers. When you buy a phone, it does not come with a charger. iPhones have not come out with their own charger. You may be given a wire, but you're not given the brick to charge your phone. My Android did not come with a charger. I thought I would have one because it was an Android, because I've never bought an Android, because I thought it was just an iPhone thing. At the time when I got this, I thought that it came with the charger. It did not come with the charger. Who did that? That is criminal. There is a country out there, I forgot what country it was, that made it a law where smartphones, any phones, had to come with a charger because it got that serious. And we just normalized that. We people complained, and that's it. We did nothing about it. We accepted it. We accepted phones not coming with chargers. And yeah, now it's normal to have a charger at home, but it wouldn't hurt to have another charger coming out with a phone. That was the standard. That was the standard back in the day. They used to treat you. The iPhone used to treat you well. When you got an iPhone, not only did it come with a charger, not only did they give you an Apple sticker, well, 2 Apple stickers. They still give you Apple stickers, but I think anyways, I don't know. But they used to also give you headphones. You know how much they charge for headphones now? Wireless headphones. I don't know what's so special about them, other than it just being Apple. Those puppies are like $200. Who is buying that much for headphones? And yeah, you can buy used ones. Sure, I don't want to buy used ones. I don't care for headphones, honestly. I mean, I just can't do it. Cannot do it. Anyways, I don't think I've ever spent, ever since like they got rid of the aux and got rid of the headphones, I don't think I've ever spent a pair of wireless headphones. I was gifted like headphones, which is nice. I'm not complaining about that. And I'd wear them at gyms and stuff. But I personally have never spent on my own head on a pair of headphones. I think that's just scam as well. But I mean, you could argue a lot of things are a scam now these days too, especially when it comes to buying high-priced product. By the way, you know the value of these things have gone up, and the quality of them has just kind of gone down. That is just ridiculous. Anyways, I have been talking about cell phones too much. I think it's time to change the course of conversation after I take a sip of the 7-Up Tropical. Have anyone tried 7-Up Tropical? I like trying new things. This is one of those things that I saw, a 7-Up Tropical. I'm like, I've never had this. Now, of course, tropical flavored soda with other natural flavors doesn't exactly tell you what's tropical about it. I think I see a peach. Yes, this is a little peach slice, not that you can see, on a 7-Up can right here. And it looks nice. It doesn't taste as good as I wanted it to be, but it's not bad. Kind of tastes like a sparkling soda, like sparkling water. Sparkling water you shouldn't drink, by the way. I mean, it's better than soda, but I don't believe sparkling water is any better for you than, normal water, especially flavored. Carbonated, just anything, I feel like doesn't help your teeth. I don't know. Because even some sparkling water brands have sugar in it. So anyways, today is October 17th, If today's your birthday, happy birthday to you, by the way. If today happens to be your birthday, you share a birthday with Eminem. Eminem, the good old famous rap artist, the Fortnite skin, Eminem. If you don't happen to like rap, well, that's okay. You also share a birthday with Alan Jackson. He is a American country music singer, artist, whatever you want to call it. And if you don't like country, well, that sucks. Now you're limiting yourself. Now you have to find out whoever else has a birthday on October 17th, because I've already done the research for you. And it's people that I don't know and don't care for. And if that's the case, I have some national holidays. Can you guess what they are? One of them is National Edge Day. National Edge Day. That is definitely an interesting name. It's maybe not what I'm thinking of, and what I'm thinking of is a little inappropriate. But if you have the same thought that I have, then you're wrong. Today is National Edge Day, meaning National Straight Edge Day. National Edge Day is a powerful positive statement in a world where substance use is often normalized. It champions the values of self-respect, mental clarity, and personal conviction. It's also a crucial day because it provides visibility and validation for young people who choose a different path by dismantling the myth that abstaining from substances is boring or antisocial. Pledging to be straight edge. At its core, straight edge is a personal pledge to maintain a clean lifestyle. While it originated in the punk rock scene, yes it has, its message has resonated across many cultures. And I still feel like a lot of punk rockers are straight edge, but now it's definitely normalized a little bit more, and that's good. CM Punk, famous wrestler, is straight edge. Everyone kind of knows that already, though. Darby Allin, I believe, is straight edge. He, I believe, are friends with CM Punk, which is good. Yeah, so straight edge, it means no alcohol, no drugs, just a clean body. Is pretty much what today is being celebrated about. Now, if you don't care about that, if you still are an alcoholic and you don't care for that, and you would rather drink, well, I got something to kind of calm your hangovers. It's National Pasta Day today. So if you like pasta, whether it's mac and cheese or fettuccine or spaghetti, go ahead and grab yourself a nice bowl of whatever you like and eat some pasta. Cook your pasta, of course. You don't eat it dry. You want that bad boy wet. You want to make sure that your pasta can stick onto the wall. Because once it sticks to the wall, that's how you know you've cooked it and it's ready to go. If it does not stick to the wall, well, I got bad news for you. It's not ready for you. That's probably bad advice. Maybe good. Who knows? I'm not a pasta expert. Italian could be shaking his head at me right now. That's okay. Alrighty, so I've talked too much, I've said too much, and I'm ready to go to bed, and I'm sure you are too. So, with that being said, thank you for liking, commenting, rating, subscribing, doing whatever you do on YouTube and whatever. I will see you guys next time, but for now, go to bed.